What's up everyone, welcome to Ashley Talks Movies and welcome to my review of F1. This is the new racing movie from director Joseph Kosinski, whose last movie was 2022's Top Gun Maverick. Brad Pitt stars as Sonny Hayes, a washed-up race car driver whose promising racing career was cut short. While gearing up for his next gig, Sonny is recruited by his old teammate Ruben, played by Javier Bardem, to help save his struggling Formula One racing team from being sold. Seeing the opportunity as a shot at redemption, Sonny joins the team but quickly butts heads with his new teammate Joshua Pierce, played by Damson Idris, a hotshot rookie who also has something to prove. Before I jump into the review, do me a favor, make sure you subscribe. That way you can keep up with everything I'm posting on the channel, including all of the movie reviews, entertainment news, and more.
Some people look at Sonny Hayes. They see a guy who lives in a van, a gambling junkie who missed his shot, the best that never was. But I see possibility.
F1 is an absolute blast. This is a big screen spectacle that's set in the world of Formula One racing, and it feels like a throwback to the summer blockbusters that dominated the early 90s. The racing scenes are thrilling and incredibly shot, putting the audience in the driver's seat. You have some really stunning visuals thanks to the amazing cinematography and camera work, and when you add the fantastic score from Hans Zimmer, this movie really comes alive. Now, Brad Pitt leads an exceptional cast, and he brings a rugged sort of charm to his performance. Sonny tends to swagger into rooms, seemingly unbothered by anything, but there is a sadness there with this character, a vulnerability that Pitt is able to portray so well. Then you have Damson Idris, and he's great as this young driver whose inexperience often gets in the way of his talent. And he and Pitt play off of each other so well. There's so many really interesting scenes between these two characters as they're figuring each other out, and it also adds a lot of character development. Javier Bardem is wonderful as the owner of the worst F1 team, who is doing everything he can to prevent from being pushed out. And what I liked about his performance is that he's able to portray someone who in one moment seems calm, cool, and collected, but also just seconds away from having a nervous breakdown. Kerry Condon is also very good here as Kate, an engineering whiz who is trying to prove herself against all the doubters. Her character is a little underdeveloped. She mostly serves as like the love interest in contrast to Brad Pitt's character, but she does a great job of doing more than what she's given. F1 does a lot of things well, but unfortunately the story is very predictable and is filled with pretty much every trope and cliche you would typically find in an underdog story like this. Now it works, but there's nothing new here. There's nothing unexpected, no surprises, so you know exactly how this story is going to unfold. F1 will likely be compared to Top Gun Maverick, and not just because the two movies share a director, but also because F1 follows a very similar story format as Top Gun Maverick. You basically get that movie, but with race cars. And again, it might not be original, but it works. My only other complaint about this movie is that it is a tad bit long. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed every minute of this, but I really think if they had trimmed about 15 minutes off of this movie, it would have made for a much tighter, sharper movie. So much of this movie works because the editing is so precise, it's edge of your seat, and it has this intensity and this momentum that really never stops. But there are a couple of moments in this movie where things start to drag, and I think if they had trimmed this movie down a little bit, that wouldn't have been the case. F1 will definitely appeal to racing fans, but even if you're not into racing, you can still enjoy this movie. I went into this movie knowing very little about Formula One, but I still found myself captivated by the racing scenes and was able to follow all the wild tactics that Sonny and his team were coming up with in their quest to save the team. And even all the racing jargon that was thrown at me in this movie didn't detract from me having a really great time with this. I saw this movie in IMAX, and I really think it helped elevate the experience. Even if I hadn't seen it in IMAX, I would have enjoyed this movie. But seeing it in IMAX, knowing that it was shot for IMAX and seeing these really great visuals on the big screen and having that sound system really pulled me into this world. And there are times where you're hearing these race cars go across the track and the engines are revving and you can feel it. I honestly think F1 delivers in so many ways. Yes, the story is cliched and predictable, but you still get some really interesting characters, you get great performances, you get some amazing visuals and action sequences. And again, even if you're not a racing fan, you are pulled into this racing world. And I think this was an absolute blast of a movie. I had an amazing time with it. And I really think this one's going to be a summer crowd pleaser. So those are my thoughts on F1, which comes out in theaters next week. So I'm actually bringing this review to you a little early. But if you do plan on seeing this movie, let me know in the comments. While you're here, like and subscribe and stick around for more videos like this.